Welcome to this week's segment of the Ripoff of the Week. My name is Adam Andrzejewski, and I'm the CEO and founder of OpenTheBooks.com. You know our mission. Simply said, it's every dime online in real time. And to that end, last year, our auditors filed 47,000 Freedom of Information Act requests. It was the most in American history, and we successfully captured $12 trillion worth of federal, state, and local spending so you can follow the money, so you can hold your elected officials accountable for their tax and spend decisions. Sometimes they're elected and sometimes they're not. If they're not, they're part of the bureaucracy. And that's a great segue into this week's topic with my co-host, Tamara Colbert. Tamara?
Adam, good evening. This is what's going to be one of our best segments ever. We have breaking news on the National Institutes of Health royalty scheme. Can you share with our viewers what that's all about?
So our auditors identified a hidden royalty stream over the course of the last 10 years at the National Institutes of Health from third-party payers, think pharmaceutical companies, back to the agency, enriching its scientists to the tune of $350 million. And Tamara, it's national news. Yesterday in a congressional hearing in the House, in the appropriations hearing, very important budget hearing for the National Institutes of Health, their acting director was in the hot seat, and he was queried on this issue for 5 minutes and admitted just what we've been saying. Every single one of those royalty payments back from a third-party payer, like a pharmaceutical company to a government-employed scientist, is a potential conflict of interest.
But Adam, here, I want you to share with our viewers tonight, there's an important caveat to the information that we've received where we don't really have all the information that we've requested.
That's true. So we know that there's 1,700 scientists that received, we forecast $350 million over the course of the last 10 years in royalties, including leadership at the National Institutes of Health. For example, Dr. Fauci received 23 payments. The former director for years over at NIH, his name was Francis Collins, and he received 14 royalty payments just in a 5-year period. You got Clifford Lane, Fauci's deputy. He's in the data. You got other executives over at the National Institutes of Health in leadership positions, heading up bureaus, directors, subdirectors. They received royalties, but I can't tell you how much they got. Why? Because the National Institutes of Health erased, blacked out, redacted the payment amount to the individual scientist. And they also redacted, blacked out, and erased the name of the third-party payer. So we can't tell you the entity or company that paid the royalty because they blacked it out. They're treating these royalties, Tamara, like state secrets, and they're not state secrets.
This has been literally a knockdown, drag-out fight between Open the Books and the National Institutes of Health. How is that? Where did we start from, and what are we doing right now?
So it's been an 8-month knockdown, drag-out battle, as you said, just to open the books on this royalty database over at NIH. I think during the pandemic, all of us, we realized that there was at best a cozy relationship between the agency and Big Pharma. And this database shows how important it is to simply be able to follow the money. And so we filed a Freedom of Information Act request 8 months ago, and NIH didn't even acknowledge it. They didn't even respond to our request. They violated straight away Federal Freedom of Information Act statutes. So we sued them in federal court. Judicial Watch is our lawyers. We did that at the end of October of last year. And quickly the case moved through federal court on judicially mandated production starting on February 1st. The agency admitted to holding 3,000 pages of line-by-line royalties. And they've slow-walked production. Think about this. They're using expensive taxpayer-paid litigation to further keep taxpayers in the dark. So what they did is 300 pages of production, but they produced the oldest royalties from 10 years ago first. We now have 5 years of those royalties, 1,200 pages. There's still 1,800 pages to go. So in the first 5 years, there's $134 million worth of royalty payments, 22,100 payments. So we forecast it's going to end up being around 350 million, 1,700 scientists, 55,000 royalties. Tamara, who knew there was such a revolving door of public money, private sector entities, and the flow of funds to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars over a 10-year period back into the agency?
So one thing that's really important, and even the National Institutes of Health acting director Tabak yesterday admitted this conflict of interest. Can you walk us through why this is a conflict of interest and how this revolving door works of cash?
Yeah, very easily. You know, our auditors at openthebooks.com, we capture the federal checkbook. When you look at that, you see that last year, for example, NIH doled out $32 billion worth of grants to 56,000 grant receiving organizations. So you have tens of billions of dollars a year going out the door on grants, funding all kinds of projects within medicine and big pharma. And then separately, hidden, you got tens of millions of dollars a year, hundreds of millions of dollars over 10 years, flowing back from probably the very entities or other entities or competing entities that have all kinds of stakes, patents, licenses, contractual relationships with the agency itself, hundreds of millions of dollars over 10 years back to the organization and its scientists, enriching them. Every single line can be a conflict of interest.
That's unbelievable. So this is really a time to call for oversight. We probably should say thank you to Congressman Molinar from Michigan for actually, again, in a hearing, Adam, just like what happened in January, a legislator calling on the spot on TV and putting an NIH representative in the hot seat. So what is Open the Books? What do we need now with our oversight call?
Well, people need to raise their voice. You need to get educated on the issue, first of all, and then call your member of Congress. We need to bring the heat so they see the light. So step one, come to openthebooks.com. Right on our homepage, free is our report detailing the $350 million worth of royalties that NIH scientists have received over the course of the past 10 years. We lay out all the public policy issues in that report. Step number two is to call your member of Congress. I mean, let's get engaged on this. We all get this. The people get this, and the powerful need to start listening to us. We're going to have effect on this issue. We've already had effect within the first 36 hours of our report publishing. The congressman from Michigan held the NIH acting director in the hot seat and got the confession. There's going to be more in the United States Senate next week, so stay tuned.
Can't wait for that. Adam, thank you so much for this report. Obviously, this is going to continue. 1,800 more pages of production from NIH to go. This is going to be a great ongoing story, and I think victory will be in favor of the taxpayer. Give us the last word.
Well, I just appreciate everybody showing up here once a week for our great segments here on the Rip-Off of the Week. We do the hard work on behalf of the American people. We're doing the work that Congress should be doing. And it looks like in this case, Congress is going to pick up the mantle and do that hard work. So thank you for supporting our organization. And we'll see you back here next week for the Rip-Off of the Week.